Well, I'm the director of demand gen programs at WatchGuard. I've been at WatchGuard for, I think, 8 years now. So quite a while. And I started in product marketing, and really kind of evolved my career over time to take over content syndication. We really were developing these global programs in English that could be leveraged across all of our regions. In 2021, I took over the US business development team for WatchGuard. So started, managing that team and working with that team really closely and really kind of owning 6sense as a platform, being responsible for how WatchGuard was developing our ABX journey and what that looked like. It was really exciting, but there were a lot of challenges that we faced, right? WatchGuard's a global company. We've got partners and teams, all over the world. And so when we first started working with 6sense, the goal was really to develop this kind of centralized program structure. And that's really where we started. We had some other great partners like Folloze now that we work with and Reach Desk. And we really just started kind of building out this centralized ABX program, and we were really excited about it. And then COVID happened. And I don't know if you guys remember COVID, that dark time in the world, right? But what we found was we had this great platform for identifying and reaching out to our target accounts in a digital way. And so we actually had to shift our strategy from building out this centralized function to actually making it available to our field teams. So our field marketing teams around the world they couldn't go to events, they couldn't do things in person, right? They had to figure out how to go out and reach their audience without being in person. And so we really started this transition to actually leveraging 6sense for our entire global organization to do digital marketing, target accounts, really kind of do that follow-up. That was great. We did a lot of learnings in that. And I kind of took a back seat, right? I was there to support the team. I was helping them roll it out. I was the admin. But as we kind of moved out of COVID and started going places again and doing events, we found that we really needed to centralize what the team was doing. And so starting in kind of 2021, 2022, we started building these centralized global programs that would do air cover, as well as some cross-sell different messaging to all of our key audiences, focusing on existing partners. And we started building this to cover all of our languages. So we support global English, French, German, Spanish, Portuguese. I think that's all of them. Maybe we missed one. So we were doing this times 5, right? Everything we were doing was at scale across all of these languages. And as we continued to build programs and build this out with our field team, we really were kind of getting overwhelmed, right? We had a lot of different programs. We were trying to figure out how to keep this running, how to do it at scale. I'm a team of, it's me and one other person that really kind of runs the 6sense side of this. And so enter Folloze as a way to really help us do that and to build that relationship and start really scaling this up. And now we've got tons of programs. I think we've got a slide on this a little later, but we've got a lot of different programs covering our audiences, and all of them run in 5 languages, right? And so it's a really exciting place for us to be. And Ryan and the 6sense team have been really great helping us along that journey as we've adapted and shifted and grown and kind of gotten to where we are today.
Cool. So Ryan, where does 6sense kind of play in all of this? Is it sort of like the digital brain underneath the whole program, or how do you guys think about that in terms of enabling this sort of global experience?
That's a great question. 6sense, you could almost think of us as a compass helping revenue teams really point north towards where their revenue opportunities are. And to Alex's point, when she first started and really started leveraging the relationship, especially when COVID happened, their teams were kind of trapped indoors for a while, right? That really made it that much more imperative that they were globally able to continue to identify accounts that are in market, and we're researching WatchGuard and interested. So that's where the 6sense piece and partnership really came in handy, with the ability to identify anonymous intent and accounts that are in market, being able to score those accounts for the WatchGuard team in terms of where they were in their buyer journey at the time. And then Alex and team, and she really downplays all the work that she's put into this over the years, because there's so much involved in really properly setting up your segments, your audiences, and pushing forward to campaigns, pushing forward to the sales teams. But to Alex's point, being global. It was a labor of love getting support for all the languages, because there are keywords, there's intent signals. You're looking at it, in different regions. And one of the great things that Alex and team did was really get to the basics, the fundamentals of what are we trying to capture, what kind of campaigns are we trying to put together, and how can we best create audiences to help align. And then once those audiences were really built out, she was able to launch campaigns, as said, and now with the Folloze partnership, they're able to better personalize at scale as well.
So we really see 6sense as like the brain of our ABX engine, right? Like everything we do is built off of the segmentation that comes from 6sense. So it really is like, I think of, I don't know why, I don't know a lot about clocks, but I think about the inside of the clock, and you've got that big gear that kind of makes all the other ones move. And so for us, really, 6sense is kind of that central gear. We use it for prioritization. We use it for segmentation. We use it with sales, marketing, digital. And what we really needed were tools that integrated really nicely with 6sense, but also helped us make what we got from 6sense, exponentially better, right? How can we take that amazing account data, but then use it and be strategic in how we're using it and how we're developing things? So all the other cogs are really important. And 6sense is really kind of the central one for us.
Yeah. So with 6sense, it's sort of the first step is getting 6sense in there and prioritizing what you're going to go after. And when you're thinking about stuff on a global basis, the way you describe it, not every region is going after exactly the same thing in exactly the same way. So making sure that you have that global business strategy perspective, but then it's backed up by these regionalized segmentation strategies that all then ladder up to a whole. So that's your foundation. And I love that. I love that, the perspective of that. And then your idea that you've got then tools that integrate around that to allow you to deliver those programs in the most targeted, efficient, effective way. So let's look at the program by the numbers really quickly, if we can.
Yeah, absolutely. So WatchGuard sells through a two-tier distribution model. So every deal that we transact is with one of our global partners, part of our WatchGuard One program. So we really have kind of three core audiences that we focus on. The first is going to be our existing partners, right? We have a pretty expansive product portfolio. We're a leader in cybersecurity with solutions in network, endpoint, multi-factor authentication, and Wi-Fi. So some of our partners sell one product, some of them sell all of them, right? And so a lot of our business is focused on expanding within that partner base. So that includes things like expansion plays. We also have kind of ways that we categorize our partners, and the way we market and work with them is different just depending on what type of partner they are. So that really covers kind of our existing partner audience. Then obviously we need to always be recruiting new partners. So thinking about our prospective partner audience, we've got, 2+ recruitment plays, again, like really focusing on triggers and things that we can use to bring new partners into our business. We also do a lot of website retargeting. So from our partner pages, really focusing in on those types of visits and retargeting there. And then our partner team does use a named account-based model. So we do have also named account lists that we use to support that team. But, can't forget our end users, right? Ultimately, they're the ones that become the customer, the end customer. And so we do have named account lists, and we do demo and trial retargeting, product page retargeting. And then, like we said earlier, we do all of that across 6 languages, including English, French, German, Spanish, Portuguese. And it's a lot, right? That's a lot of different things, and building that out. And not where we started, right? We didn't do this day one. We've definitely grown and built to this level, but 6sense is really the tool that helps us identify and build each of these segments. And then, using different tools like Folloze and, we use outreach on the sales enablement side, like those tools help us take the segmentation and really activate it, right? And be successful there. So it's a lot of work, but this really works for us, and it helps us to focus our resources, right? Like I said, I'm myself, I've got a senior ABX specialist that helps me build all of this, and that's it. It's the two of us. And so really having the tools that we need to build this type of segmentation and execute at scale is really important for us to be successful.
Okay. So let's talk about the execution piece of it, because we are here today to really talk about how you take advantage of the insights and the availability of the level of microsegmentation that you can do with a platform like 6sense. And then what you described as you're introducing your program is the level of complexity from an execution standpoint that can be inherent in delivering this really important, necessary, targeted demand gen model, but in a way that, doesn't overwhelm you or allows you to really achieve that level of scale. So let's start first with your segmentation strategy. Like, how are you setting up your targets and your segmentation? And then we want to get into looking at your program.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think, again, like this is an evolution. We did not start this organized on day one, right? When we started in day one, it was a lot of testing and trial and error and trying to figure out what worked for us. But one of the things that we've really rolled out this year, and we've kind of spent the first couple months of 2024 really, finalizing and building, is kind of a tiered segment structure that allows us to build segments and have them connected, but also leverage segments for different things, right? So one of the things that we look at are what we call building block segments, and that's building segments that we can use either individually or stack together to create a final segment that we'll use for a campaign or reporting. Our campaign segments are the ones that we're really using to drive traffic. So we use the advertising platform through 6sense. We do that through their platform and then also through their integration with LinkedIn. And so we have these campaign segments that we push out that are built from those building blocks. And so sometimes they're made up of multiple segments, right, that we've combined into one, but allow us to really activate a single campaign that we can track the traffic through and really understand how that campaign's performing as a whole. And then the other element we have are these reporting segments. And so this is great, especially when you're doing something like named accounts, or if you're really trying to focus in on a specific goal. We use a lot of them for named accounts, and building this reporting segment is great because the reporting in 6sense really enables us to track how our named accounts are moving down the journey, how we see them evolving over time and going from awareness to consideration to decision and purchase. And that's one of the things that we report in on, monthly as part of our health metrics. What I really love about what we've changed in our approach here is when you publish a segment, that's when you can get it picked up into tools like Folloze and some of the other platforms we work with. And that enables us to do this kind of personalization at scale and say, awesome, here's the segment for my campaign, but it's actually made up of 4 different segments. I'm going to publish all of those. So when they get to Folloze, we can create a really unique experience for them where that person from that account is getting exactly what I want them to see without having to build 5 different landing pages, to really create that experience. And so that's been one of the changes we've made to just really kind of organize those things, but give us the visibility we need to execute really effectively.
So Ryan, how important are these segments to your customers' ability to really see success when they're working with 6sense in this way?
There's a great question. The answer is everything. They are paramount. Segments are really the foundational bread and butter of what 6sense is providing for our customers. So we have our company ID graph that is out, sourcing all, 500 billion monthly events on the web and tying those events to different accounts that are in these various stages of their journey, for our customers and WatchGuard in this case. And what that allows Alex and WatchGuard and our customers to do is, create really laser focused segments. And to Alex's point, you have your go-to-market, your published segments for either various regions, various kind of target account groups. And then you can layer on, first party intent, third party intent onto those segments to really, really get sort of, refine what you're looking to target. But again, it really all starts with knowing your audience, your core ICP audience, and then from there, what are sort of the audience segments that you're looking to target, and then aligning on campaigns and channels and messaging. But it really all starts with segment. Without that, it's just you're shooting for needles in haystacks, right?
Right. So segmentation is a fundamental. It's multi-phased. It's multi-pronged. Alex, you got your segmentation set. I'm going to stop screen sharing now, and I'm going to hand it over to you because I want to hear about your program. And I think people are going to say, hey, how do you bring this to life? So let's get into that.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the examples that I pulled is back in Q3 of 2023. WatchGuard announced an official partnership with the Seattle Kraken. So we're the official cybersecurity company of the Seattle Kraken. Really exciting. It's an NHL team, if you don't know, Ryan. So back in 2023, WatchGuard announced our official cybersecurity partnership with the Seattle Kraken. It's an NHL team, if you don't know. And one of the things that we wanted to do to take advantage of this was retarget visitors from the pages and the press release and everything that we set up for the Kraken partnership, and really retarget that, right? And be able to leverage those new audiences coming to this website and try to get more traction with them, get some more information, get them the right information that they need based on if they're an end user for us or a prospective partner. And so one of the things that we did was, again, going back to our kind of segment structure, we built some foundational building block segments with the different types of traffic that was coming to that page. So you can see here, this is Folloze. In Folloze, I have my account segment for end users that are in early stages, end users that are in late stages, partners in early stages, partners in late stages, and then really anyone else that kind of visits the page that maybe doesn't fall into one of those groups. And so with Folloze, what we're able to do is have one landing environment where we can drive all of the retargeting traffic to, but we can feel comfortable that when they get there, they're going to get the right set of content relevant to their needs, right? They're going to get partner messaging if they're a partner. If they're early stage or late stage, they'll get case studies or, an ebook that maybe gives them an overview. And so we were able to build one page that we could use for retargeting, which ultimately helps us with reporting, right? I'm not looking at 5 different pages and trying to average them together and make some assessments. I've really got one page. Okay. I've got one page that collects all of this traffic. And then I can see in this page who's doing what, right? So you can see in the traffic, I can filter by the campaign that they're in. I can filter by if they're coming from 6sense or if we're using our emails. So it really enables us to give that kind of unique personalized experience, but at scale, right? I don't have to do this a ton of times. I do it once and then I can drive my traffic. One of the other things that we really love about Folloze is one of the reasons we switched from our other vendor over here is this pulse report. Having this information, like we said, we really try to work on an account-based model. And so these are early stage accounts. So we don't always know all of them, but knowing the specific accounts visiting our page and then being able to go back and share that with our sales team and communicate with them, that really helps us deliver that ABX experience. And it's also super clear to see what content is driving results, right? So in this landing environment, we've got 185 views on our Power Plays ebook. That's the most successful piece of content on this page. I can take it back to my team and tell them, hey, for this audience, this is the content that's working. And so this is just kind of leaps and bounds over what we were using before. And it really all drives from that integration with 6sense and leveraging those segments to really understand who's coming to the page and the type of experience they're having.
So you're showing a page with a lot of anonymous visitors because this is kind of really top of funnel, right?
Super top of funnel, exactly.
And how do you de-anonymize these visitors, and how has this changed since you've started to use the Folloze 6sense combination?
Yeah, so we, on this page, again, like you said, super top of funnel. So what we'll do here is once they come into this landing environment, there's, forms for them. We have the ability to kind of reach out to them, but we also continuously keep retargeting from the Kraken page. So we're always working with those accounts. And when we do have an account identified that's early stage, that's, kind of inferred, but this isn't 100% certainty, we work with our BDR team to go ahead and work that account, right? Build out this account, go after them. So it's really understanding for a top of funnel page, it's seeing the traffic, seeing what's working, and then taking advantage of those opportunities where you can to go after them. When you're talking about more of like a named account list where you have all those accounts in your database, all of this is filled in, and then you're really just knowing when people come to your page, when's the right time to follow up. So we do a lot of other retargeting off of this segment and this list through LinkedIn, 6sense ads, when we have contacts through email. So we're really driving kind of constantly to retarget and drive to this page.
Got it.
And there is a form fill, but you guys know form fills are.
So can you show us a example of the page?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is, again, very top of funnel. Really the goal here, this is a brand awareness campaign. So we're really not trying to drive lead gen here. It's really just to take advantage of people coming on, wanting to learn more about our relationship with the Kraken. So this is an example of what the page looks like. we've got our overview, we've got our highlight of our portfolio, and then this is really in this resource center here. This is where you can see the content dynamically changes based off of which segment you fall into. And so again, we've got something like our partner brief. I don't necessarily want an end user to see that, right? That's not for them. That's for our partners or our prospective partners. And so we're able to really kind of create that unique experience that only partners would see that versus something like our XDR ebook that's relevant to everybody. We want everyone to see that if they come to our page. So this is really one of the best places to leverage that dynamic personalization and how we're using it today.
Got it. And so presumably this also changes as somebody shifts buying phases and they've already
Correct.
come to the board and now you're serving them something different.
Yeah, totally. So when we're in early stages, we would have more like infographics, those types of things. But in here, we also have partner success stories or case studies. We have analyst reports. So digging into those kind of more proof point, later stage things. So trying to create an experience that even if you come here twice, if your buying stages change, you're not going to see the same things that you saw when you came here the first time.
Got it.
And Mary, just to sort of throw on a little bit of extra kudos for Alex and team, but also highlight what a best practice it is sort of constantly being aware of messaging and segments and kind of how they play together. So that's something that the WatchGuard team is just really, really vigilant on in terms of, what they want to be presenting to what specific segments, and what accounts are kind of rotating in and out of those segments. So that's kind of a crawl, walk, run. And again, as we mentioned, sort of Alex and the WatchGuard team is really sort of expert level, but that's definitely a best practice that we highlight.
So Alex, you're just basically, as you learn and evolve, you're switching up the messaging in those segments that you showed us earlier and who gets what.
Yeah. And I will again, this isn't my things I love about my vendors, but kind of is. But that's one of the things we like about Folloze, right? It gives us Folloze and 6sense. The platforms both have really great reporting functionality. And so I use Folloze to tell me which content's working, right? So we've done some target account list tests where we take our target account list and break it down into buying stage. And we've run them to different Folloze boards or to different experiences. And we've leveraged the data that we've gotten from Folloze to say, actually, when our prospective partners are in an early stage, they don't want to talk about the partner program. They just want to talk product. And that's what we're going to switch to. And we're able to see how our accounts can move down the journey by taking what we see from Folloze and taking what we understand from this specific segment is really digesting this content and making changes on that. 6sense, their campaigns do the same thing. So we're able to go in, set up, 2 or 3 different ads and say, hey, this one's performing really well and this one's not. Let's think about why. Let's swap it out. Let's see what's working, what's not, and really drive database decisions to have a bigger impact on the audiences we're trying to reach. Yeah, I think for any ABX marketer, tracking success and ROI is probably the hardest thing to do, right? Being able to go out and say, yes, I ran this ad campaign and it did something. So it's challenging. I think, again, with Folloze and 6sense coming together, when we look at something like a named account list, it's really easy for us to go back and say, we had X number of accounts in this list. Here's how many started in one stage and then moved to another stage, right? And then here's how many visited the Folloze board, or here's how many engaged in our 6sense campaign. So one of the ways that we do that is with segment reports. So 6sense offers these really great segment reports. Again, we create a reporting segment specifically for this. And so this is an example of one from our target account list. It says 2022, but it was really 2023. And what you can see here is, I think the list had about almost 3,000 accounts in it. And so in this table, it's a little bit of an eye chart, but once you understand it, it changes your life. So basically what we're seeing here is of the accounts that were in consideration in September, 700 of them stayed month over month from August to September in that time frame. But I had, 77 that moved up from awareness, right? I had 3 that moved up from consideration to decision. So we're able to really track, and we track this on a monthly basis. So every month we go in and we say, here's how many accounts were in awareness, here's how many were in consideration, here's how many were in decision, and we track that movement month over month. So when someone comes back to me, I can really easily say, yep, here's the number of accounts we started with. Here's how many started in this stage. Here's where they went to. And then again, on the follow side with a named account list, all those accounts are already in our database. So when we go to that Pulse report, it's really easy for me to go in, do an export, see which accounts are in there. Both of these tools integrate really nicely with Salesforce. So we built some Salesforce. There's a widget, I guess, or a Chrome extension that Folloze has to let our sales team know when one of their named accounts visits a Folloze board. The sales intelligence iframe from 6sense is a wonderful way for our sales team to track this. And so again, it's not, we did this, it's all marketing. We got to opportunity generation. But if somebody asked me if an account was involved in a program and that a program made an impact on them, I can say yes or no, right? It's easy for me to go in and actually see which accounts are doing what, the overall impact of how our campaigns and programs are driving accounts down the journey. This is more kind of account-based, but you could do this with buying stage. You could do this with a lot of different segmentation. And it really helps us to have that conversation and feel confident in what we're saying about how our programs are making an impact.
It really challenges that traditional attribution thinking as well, doesn't it?
Yeah. We talk about this all the time. Like, I think as we shift from like demand gen, lead gen to really this ABX model, nothing is all sales or marketing, right? Like, marketing attribution feels silly to me at a certain point where it's like, if it's on a named account list, I did something with it, right? Like I have the list is something's happening to anything in that list. You almost don't even have to question it, but it does allow us to really have that conversation and show the impact of what we're doing as we kind of change that mindset and kind of get everyone on the same page as what attribution looks like in an ABX model. And I know Ryan, 6sense is always coming out with different reports and different ways to kind of track segmentation, and we always look forward to what that looks like.
Yeah, this is really the key, the segment performance report, and then with your digital display campaigns, there's individual reporting on campaigns in terms of what the engagement rate really is. And we're talking things like click-through rates, view-through rates of people who are visiting websites after being served ads, that sort of thing. So, one best practice and what Alex and team do a great job of is really just sort of staying on top of each various type of campaign, whether it be display, LinkedIn, retargeting, just to make sure that they're seeing the results they want. If not, we're running campaign audits to see where we can change up messaging, maybe the audience. And just to piggyback on another point Alex made in terms of, sort of working, marketing, sales, attribution, really a best practice, and the customers we've seen have the greatest success with an overall ABM journey are those that have full buy-in and alignment from all revenue teams. That's marketing, sales, operations, all working in unison, because you want to make sure you have full alignment on who your key GTM segments and audiences are. What are what's the messaging we're sending them? What is the handoff point between, top of funnel accounts and where they hit that perfect stage where we then want our sales to start reaching out, and what are the channels and who are the personas that we're reaching out to. So again, kind of another feather in the cap for WatchGuard and being sort of a master class, but it's definitely something that we've seen a lot of success with.
Great. Is there anything else that you look at then, Alex, when you're working on directing or air traffic control of your programs and your campaigns?
Yeah, I mean, I think that kind of like Ryan said, right? The segmentation and tracking the progression of segments. 6sense also has an engagement version of this, right? So this is very much focused on buying stage. There's also an engagement version. So just depending on what type of segment we've got, depending on what we're looking at or what the goal is, we'll use one of those two reports. One example is we have for our cross-sell, right? So our existing partners are always in decision purchase. They're always buying from us. And so buying stage doesn't help us quite as much there, right? But really being able to focus in on what's their engagement and what are they showing intent for, that enables us to say, here's a partner not selling a product. They're in the segment of partners showing intent for that product, and here's the engagement level behind it. So those are really the two types of reports we use. And then ultimately, like Ryan said, using more of your standard campaign metrics just to understand if the messaging's working or the content's working, layering that in with our programs to then go back and kind of make those strategic decisions on what we want to change, what we need to update. But really, I think aligning the team, like Ryan said, and like focusing on those accounts in later stage and saying, this is really where you should put your effort, because we know that they're moving down the funnel. We know that they're showing that level, really kind of pushing them to focus there.
And then I'm assuming you have one of these dashboards for each region, or a version of these dashboards for each language version that you're shipping as well?
Yeah, so we track program success at a whole. So we roll it up, but we do have versions of this for every language. So for every program, we either have an engagement report or a segment report, and then they can go in and check for each of their regions and really understand what's happening for German or French or Spanish. I would say ultimately the way our model works is the team really we do regular readouts. So the team really trusts that we'll come to them and say, hey, like, we saw this anomaly, or this doesn't look right, or actually this is performing really well. So I don't know that they're in here day in and day out. They've got so many other things to worry about, but we work really closely to kind of report out to them and share those findings with them to let them know places where they could maybe double down or should maybe make some changes and what we're seeing working and not working.
Got it.
And same thing in Folloze. So one of the things my field team loves about Folloze is how easy it is to do translations. That was a really big challenge for us in some of our other platforms that we've used. And it's great to be able to go into Folloze and export a engagement report or a content report and have it built off of the language and the board based on that language. And so my German team, for example, will go in, we'll just pull any board that's got German in it, and they export it, they look at it, and they can go in and kind of understand what's working, what's not, what collateral is being used, where there's engagement, and just having the flexibility to do the translations in the Folloze board so quickly and easily has been a huge benefit for them. They love it, and they never really love when I bring them things that is more work for translations, but they love this one because it's so easy for them to do it.
That's nice to hear, because typically when you see, centralized program management being distributed across the globe, there's always a lot of complaints coming in from the field, right? It's very hard to localize things and keep the constituents in all the markets happy. So it's good news. Wow, that's a pretty seamless seeming program with a lot of complexity, but you seem pretty relaxed about it, Alex. But I can imagine that the journey that you went on to get here was pretty intense. So, and I know, Ryan, you guys have been on this journey with Alex for the duration. So I want to hear about how you got where you were and, kind of what it took to get here.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, we didn't start doing this in 6 languages. It's definitely been an evolution. I think, like I said, when we planned out how we were going to use 6sense, we envisioned this kind of centralization and we were going to run everything. And then COVID just really kind of threw us for a loop. And we said, we've got this tool. It's really powerful. Let's use it with the field, right? And so, I think for us, it really started with getting the field team out, using it on their own, building their own segments, like really understanding how it works. And then as we were able to take those learnings, taking baby steps to build out more and more programs, right? And that doesn't happen overnight. We started just with global English, right? Hey guys, we're going to run this in global English. That's what we're going to do. If you want to do it and translate it, awesome, up to you. Then we really started to say, hey, this is core messaging. Everybody should see this. We're going to translate this. We're going to do it together. We'll take care of it. We'll let you know when we're making changes and optimizations. And we just really kept adding in that way. And I think the 2 biggest things that we've learned in that experience is it's a lot about building trust, right? You can't just say, hey, you used to do this, I'm going to do it now. Don't worry about it, because everybody's like, what? Excuse me, what do you mean? So we spent time building the trust with the team to really walk them through it, explain it, give them the information they needed to really understand what we were doing. And then it's having the right tools in place to make it possible. Trying to do this on our own without tools like 6sense or Folloze would be impossible. And so I think, as our program has grown and as we've been able to add more complexity and more layers to it, we've really needed to go back and find the right tools that help us do that and enable us to do it quickly and at scale. And so definitely day one, we were not doing this. Day one, we were just kind of trying to figure out how it worked. But as we've gotten more and more invested and more involved in it, we're really able to build something that supports the global team, and they trust us, they feel confident in it, they understand it, and it feels like something we're doing to help give them coverage and not taking it away or doing it for them, right? Like we're all really working on it together.
Right. So Ryan, what are your kind of words of wisdom as you obviously are here to usher lots of different customers through this journey, and from your experience with Alex?
Yeah, I would say, just to again kind of reiterate Alex's point, it's been a long journey, and WatchGuard and Alex and team are sort of at that elite masterclass level, but it is a very much a crawl walk run type experience, especially when organizations are really leaning into change management that maybe haven't adopted an ABM, ABX strategy yet. So really our sort of best practice approach is start with the fundamentals. Start with aligning your revenue teams on what is our core audience, who are we targeting, what is our core messaging, how do we align on, by funnel, by channel, where do sales and marketing align? Really just get those core fundamentals in place. What are the KPIs? How are we going to track initial success? And once you launch and then sort of iterate and iterate again on your campaigns, on your reporting, get to sort of a comfort level, then you add in another layer, add in another region, add in another language, and kind of just, again, keep iterating, keep improving from there, until you get to the WatchGuard level. But really, I think the key is focusing on the fundamentals first. Don't try to rush to the top of Mount Everest in a day. Get to base camp 1 first, assess, and then move along.
Yeah. Great. Good advice.
And get a good CSM.
And get a good CSM. Yeah.
I have two good CSMs.
I'm not going to disagree with that, Alex.
I have great CSM at Folloze, and obviously Ryan's been helping us a lot. But I do think choosing the right vendors is a really important thing. I work with a lot of vendors. I manage a lot of platforms, and we've been really lucky that the ones we work with are really invested in helping us be successful, right? I have regular conversations with Ryan about what do I want to do next? How can I take it to the next level? What does 6sense see as the next step for WatchGuard? Similar with Folloze and Matthew. Like we talk all the time about here's new things, here's what you could be doing. Have you thought about this? And so we're always kind of working with our vendors to be challenged and to try new things and to get better. And if you don't have vendors doing that for you, those aren't the right vendors. Your vendors should really care about what you're trying to do and care about making you successful, because when you're successful, they're successful, right? And I think that's one of the best things we've had with 6sense and Folloze is teams that really are behind us. When, I go to Ryan, I'm like, Ryan, don't know what I'm doing. I think I said to him, I was like, I can see it in my head, but I don't know how to put it on paper. And Ryan's like, awesome. Who can you talk to? How can I connect you with someone at 6sense? Who's the right person, right? That's what you want out of a vendor. You don't want someone that just takes your money every quarter and says, thank you so much. See you next time, right? Like it's building those relationships and learning from the teams and getting better in that way. I think has been one of the best benefits for us with both 6sense and Folloze.
So Alex and team have done a great job in a couple of areas. They're always looking to innovate, and they're always looking to learn from others. So Alex has been part of a lot of references with other customers. She's done presentations and webinars for us. The WatchGuard team has been part of several product beta tests that we've been going through in the last year or two, that help not only obviously WatchGuard sort of stay on top of what's coming down on the roadmap, but also help us as her vendor, iterate and improve on things that we want to add that can benefit every customer. So that's definitely a recommendation, and how to kind of follow Alex and WatchGuard's lead is to just learn as much as you can and learn from everyone.
And that's how innovation happens, right? Innovation is a process, not an event. We are innovating this new space, this new frontier of the digital buyer revolution, and it's customers like Alex that allow us to do that and pull us all along. Well, this has been such a fun conversation, and it's so great to look inside the program and have the have the perspective of WatchGuard at the table. But Ryan, also thank you for joining us too. It's really great to have the 6sense perspective. And we will be back next month with a session with Workday. And we're going to be talking about a similar thing and continue on with our Steal This Playbook program. So thank you so much both for joining us. And we will see you around the community. So
Thank you guys so
Thanks
much.
for having me.